low beams. I'm going to make sure they're not broken, loose, and missing, that they're both in good working condition. I'm also checking my indicator lights. I'm going to make sure that the left, right, four ways, they're all in good working condition, and they're amber in color. I'm going to look under my tractor, make sure there's no dangling hoses or any leaks in it. I'm going to come to this side. Here. Now, try to make it easy as possible for you, okay? So you won't be jumping from one place to another. Start from the front of the engine and work your way back, okay? First thing I want to check is my coolant level. Make sure it's up to level. If I need to add some, I add some to the top. I'm going to check all my hoses on this side and also on the other side. I'm going to check them both the same way. I'm going to make sure there's no abrasions, bubbles, or cuts, or leaks on them. I'm going to check my alternator and my water pump. I'm going to make sure they're not broken, loose, or missing, that they're both in good condition, and both of these are belt driven. On my water pump, I'm also looking for leaks. On the belts, I'm making sure that they have no more than 1/4 of an inch play on them. They're not cut, frayed, or damaged in any way. I'm going to make sure they're both in good condition. I'm also going to check my wiring on my alternator, make sure there's no bare wires or anything, make sure it's in good condition. Now, back here is where my exhaust starts. I'm going to check all the clamps around the exhaust, make sure none of these are broken, loose, or missing, that they're all in good condition, and there's no black soot around them. If there's any black soot around them, it can indicate an exhaust leak. Now I'm going to come all the way to the back of the stack. Now the stack, I'm going to make sure it's not broken, loose, or missing, in good condition. The only black soot I want to see is coming out from the top of the stack. I'm going to go to the other side. Now on this side of the engine, you guys notice there's a lot more parts on this side, right? So like I told you, try to set yourself up in a way that you won't be jumping from one place to another, because if you do that, you're going to start, missing a lot of parts, right? So now, I'm going to start from the inside of the motor and work my way out towards me. First thing I want to check is my air compressor and my power steering pump. Both of these parts are gear driven. I'm going to make sure they're not broken, loose, or missing, that they're both in good working condition. On my power steering pump, I'm checking the hoses, make sure there's no abrasion, bubbles, or cuts, or leaks. I'm going to make sure that they're all in good condition. Now, I'm going to check my oil dipstick, make sure it's up to level. If I need to add some, I add some through here, a gallon at a time. This is my power steering reservoir. This is where I check it, and this is where I fill it. Now, from here, from the front of my truck, all the way to the back of my truck, I'll check my frame. I'm going to make sure there's no illegal welding, no illegal drilling on it, and make sure it's in good condition. After the frame, I'm going to go all the way down. I'm going to check my leaf spring mount, leaf springs, U-bolts, spring hangers. I'm going to make sure none of these are broken, loose, or missing, that they're all in good condition. I'm also checking my shock absorber and shock absorber mounts. I'm going to make sure they're not broken, loose, or missing, in good condition, and that the shock is not leaking. Now I'm going to come back up. I'm going to check my steering linkage, U-joints, steering box, fitment arm, drag link, upper lower steer knuckles, and my tie rod ends, and also on my castle nuts and cotter pins. I'm going to make sure that none of these are broken, loose, or missing, in good condition. On my steering box, I'm checking the hoses too, making sure that there's no abrasion, bubbles, or cuts, and or any leaks. Now I'm going to come to my brake assembly. I'm going to check my brake line, my brake hose, and make sure there's no abrasions, bubbles, or cuts, or leaks on it. Make sure it's in good condition. Now I'm going to check my brake chamber, slack adjuster, and push rod and cotter pin, and make sure none of these are broken, loose, or missing, that they're all in good condition. And on my push rod, I'm not allowed to have no more than 2 inches of travel when the brakes are applied. I'm going to check my brake lining. On the brake lining, I'll make sure that I have no less than 1/4 of an inch wear on the thinnest point of the shoe. I'm going to check my brake drum. Make sure there's no grease, no oil. Make sure there's no bluing or cracks on the brake drum. Make sure it's in good condition. Now I'm going to come back out. I'm going to check my ICD, inflation, condition, and depth. Inflation, I'm going to check the sidewall of the tire, what's recommended by the tire manufacturer. I'm going to check the condition of the tire on the outside and the inside for any abrasions, bubbles, or cuts. Make sure it's properly mounted to the rim and in good condition. I'm going to check the depth of my tire. I'm going to check every major group of the tire, make sure that I have no less than 4/32 of wear on it. Since this is a front tire, it has to be a new tire at all times. It cannot be a recap or a regroove tire. I'm going to check my valve stem, make sure it's not touching the rim, it's not broken, loose, or missing, in good condition, and it has the valve cover on it. I'm going to check the rim, make sure there's no illegal welding, no illegal drilling on it, make sure it's in good condition. I'm going to check all my lug nuts, make sure none of these are broken, loose, or missing, and in good condition. Now, if there's any oxidation around one of the lug nuts, it can indicate two things. Either the lug nut's loose or the stud is broken. I'm going to check my hub seal, make sure it's not broken, loose, or missing, good condition, and it's not leaking. Okay.
How much oil should you have in there, inside that?
There's a little line. This mirror, you're going to check it twice. Once inside and one out here. Okay. Now my mirror, I'm going to make sure it's not broken, loose, or missing, in good condition. I'm going to check my doors. I'm going to make sure that the doors open and close freely. I'm going to check the door hinges. Make sure that none of these are broken, loose, or missing, in good condition. I'm also checking the door seal, making sure it's in good condition. I'm going to check my lights on the side of my tractor. I'm going to check my four-way flashers, right and left turn signals. They should be amber in color, in good working condition. Now, back here, I'm going to check my steps on my fuel tank, make sure that they're not broken, loose, or missing, in good condition. I'm also going to check my catwalk, make sure there's no slippery substance on it, make sure it's not broken, loose, or missing, in good condition. I'm also going to check my fuel tank. I'm going to look under my tank for any leaks. I'm going to make sure that the fuel tank's not broken, loose, or missing, in good condition. I'm also checking the cap, make sure that I have the proper seal on it and in good condition. Right underneath my catwalk is my dry shafts. I'm going to make sure they're not broken, loose, or missing, in good condition. Right behind in the back is my torque arm. I'm going to make sure it's not broken, loose, or missing, in good condition. I'm going to come back out. I'm going to check my air lines and electrical line. My air lines, I'm going to make sure there's no abrasions, bubbles, or cuts, or leaks. Make sure that they're in good condition. Electrical line, make sure there's no bare wires and not dragging the catwalk, in good condition. I'm also checking my glad hand rubbers, making sure that they're all in good condition. Since I'm facing this way, I might check my header board, make sure there's no structural damage to it, make sure it's in good condition. I'm also checking my clearance lights and my reflectors. They should be amber in color. They should all be in good working condition. Now I'm going to step out a little bit. I'm going to say, from here all the way to the back of my trailer, I like to check all my lights and my reflectors. They should all be in good working condition. Now, when you guys get back here, you got two axles here again, right? Now you're going to ask your examiner, with your permission, I'd like to inspect both of these axles identical as the front, with the exception of the differences are, now you're going to tell me the different parts, right? One, I got axle seals back here. In the front I have what?
Hub seals.
Hub seals, right?
Right.
So back here I'm going to say I'm going to check my axle seals. I'm going to check all the lug nuts, make sure none of these are broken, loose, or missing, that they're all in good condition, and there's no leaks. Right? Back here, the other difference I have is airbags and airbag mounts. On the airbags, I'm going to make sure there's no abrasions, bubbles, or cuts, or leaks. Make sure that they're in good condition. Now, on the airbag mount, I'm going to make sure it's not broken, loose, or missing, in good condition. Also, the other different part that I have back here is that I got a control mount. I got a control mount and a control arm. Make sure it's not broken, loose, or missing, and in good condition. That's it. Did I miss anything? Huh?
Shock absorber. Oh.
I already mentioned the shock absorber in the front, right? Remember what I said? I would like to check both of these identical as the front. I'm not back there yet.
Okay.
Right?
Sorry.
Remember, you guys, I want you guys to go one step at a time, right? Cut this truck into a bunch of little pieces, you know, hey, get everything together, right? Now, since I'm still here on this part of my tractor and trailer, I'm going to start off with my fifth wheel assembly, since it's under here, right? I'm going to check my apron and my glide plate. I'm going to make sure that the apron and the glide plate are flush together. There's no visible gap going through it. They're not broken, loose, or missing, in good condition. I'm also going to check my fifth wheel mounting bolts. I'm going to make sure that none of these are broken, loose, or missing, in good condition. Now, I'm also checking my fifth wheel locking pins. Make sure that they're in the lock position. They're not broken, loose, or missing, in good condition. Now, I'm also going to check the release handle, which is on the other side. I'm going to make sure it's in the lock position. I'm also checking the safety latch that's firmly wrapped around the kingpin. Make sure that they're not broken, loose, or missing, in good condition. Okay, I'm done there, right? So now I'm gonna go ahead and move back a little bit. I'm gonna look under my trailer. I'm gonna check all my cross members from here all the way to the back of my trailer. I'm gonna make sure they're not broken, loose, or missing, that they're all in good condition. I'm also looking under my trailer for any type of structural damages. I'm gonna check my splash guard. I'm gonna make sure it's not dragging on the ground. It covers a full tire. It's not broken, loose, or missing, and in good condition. I'm also checking all my lights and reflectors back here. All the lights should be red in color. One that's white, that's my reverse light. But I'm gonna check my left turn signal, right turn signal, four-way flashers, and my brake lights.
Okay.
They should all be in good working condition. I'm gonna check my landing gear. I'm gonna make sure it's not broken, loose, or missing, in good condition, that the crank handle's in the stowaway position. Now I'm gonna move back. Now I'm gonna check this light on the side of my trailer. I'm gonna make sure that it's not broken, loose, or missing, in good condition. It should be amber in color. I'm gonna check my left turn signal, right turn signal, four-way flashers on it. Make sure all these lights are in good working condition. Now, back here again. Come on, guys. Back here again, when you guys get to these two axles again, you're going to ask your examiner, with your permission, I'd like to check both of these axles identical as the way I checked the ones in the front. What the differences is, now you're going to tell me the different parts again. You're going to start from the inside and work your way out. First thing I'm going to check, that this trailer has a sliding tandem. See all the holes on the trailer? See all the holes on the frame?
Yeah.
That means these axles move forward or backwards, okay? So that's your sliding tandem. I'm going to check my sliding tandem locking pins. See the pins there? I'm going to make sure that they're on the lock position. They're not broken, loose, or missing, in good condition. I'm going to check the release handle. I'm going to make sure it's not broken, loose, or missing, in good condition. Now, the other difference is this on my leaf spring mounts, right? These are welded. The ones in the front are bolted. So I'm going to check the intensity of the welds on my leaf springs and mounts. Make sure they're not broken, loose, or missing, in good condition. I'm also checking the torque bars. I have one here and one back here. I'm going to make sure they're not broken, loose, or missing, in good condition. Now, the other difference is on this axles is that I got dualies on it, right? You guys notice that some of our trailers have super singles, right? Now, if this trailer would have had super singles, I wouldn't have to say anything about the tires, right? Because it's the same as the front. But since this one has dualies on it, I have to say something about it, right? Now, I'm going to check between my tires, make sure there's no debris or anything. I'm going to make sure that both rims are butted together. They're not broken, loose, or missing, in good condition. Splash guard. How would I check the splash guard? I would like to inspect this splash guard identical as the way I checked the one in the front. Door type. I'll make sure it's not broken, loose, or missing, in good condition. Now, back here. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to scrub in my doors. I'm going to make sure that my doors are not broken, loose, or missing, that they're both in good condition, that they open and close freely. I'm going to check all the door hinges. I'm going to make sure that none of these are broken, loose, or missing, that they're all in good working condition. I'm also checking the door seals. I'm going to make sure that the door seals are in good condition. Now I'm going to check all my lights, my reflectors. I'm going to check all my clearance lights, running lights, and everything, right? I'm going to check my left turn signal, right turn signal, forward flashers, brake lights. I'm going to make sure all these lights are red in color and they're all in good working condition. Now on this side, with your permission, I like to inspect this whole side of my tractor and trailer identical as the way I checked the other side. If there was anything different on this side, I would mention it, but since there's nothing different on this side, that concludes my outside inspection.